Hey everyone! This is the video answer key for Test Review 5.2. Test 5.2 is coming up in a couple of days here, so you've been given a review. I'm going to give you a study tip to help you out, to make a good grade, as high a grade as possible. Okay, so print out the review and just have your notes next to you and use your notes to do the review by yourself. It's 9 questions. Try as many as possible. So let's see what you know without any help. And then the ones that you're completely stumped on and stuck, you have no idea, then you start this video and watch it to help you solve those, and then kind of compare your answers, the ones that you did plus the ones that you were stuck on. That gives you a good idea of what you can expect to make on the test and what you just need a little refreshment on. If you notice you're stuck on a topic, that might give you a clue that you need to go find those notes and make sure you have those before the test rolls along. Alright, just my little tip. Let's get started. Write the area and or volume formula for each shape. So these are some of the shapes, actually not all, you've learned more. But these are kind of the main ones that you will see on the test coming up. You need to know, of course, you're going to be given the star formula chart, but it's always good to see, have you done enough examples by now that you kind of know these formulas? So this is just a practice. Even take the chart and then copy them down. Alright, the first one, that's a triangle. Area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Right, or 1/2, but 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. The next one, that's a rectangle. Rectangle area is base times height. This one's a trapezoid. Trapezoid formula is a little bigger. It's base 1 plus base 2 multiplied by the height, all of that divided by 2. And this would be base 1, that would be base 2, dotted line as a height. Volume. This first one's a rectangular prism, and the volume is, you were given 2 separate formulas, so let's write both of them. There was volume equals big B, which stands for area of the base times the height, or you can use volume equals length times width times height. Triangular prism. You could do the old formula that was volume equals base, capital letter B, area of the base times the height, or volume equals length times width times height divided by 2. Pyramids. Volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. And that last one is a circle. You know, area of a circle is pi r squared. Just something extra. In case you ever see a half circle on a shape, it's a bad half circle, but let's pretend, a half circle, and you're being asked to find the formula of the area of a half circle. Build off of the area of a full circle. So you would just do area of a full circle, but then at the end you would divide your answer by 2, right? And same with quarter circles. Imagine you had been given a quarter circle and asked to find the area of that. Well, you would find the area of a full circle, but at the end divide by 4. Okay, so these are all the formulas you're going to be working with on this review and also on the test. So have this as a reference. It's right there at the top for you as you work out everything else. Number 1, find the missing length on this shape. That is a triangular prism, as you can see. A triangular prism, the formula would be volume equals length times width times height divided by 2. And we've been given the volume, we've been given a length, a length and a height, but we're missing a width. And so we're going to plug in what we have. Volume is 98. Length was 9.8. Width, it doesn't really matter what order we put these that are getting multiplied. and divided by 2. Now how you would solve this is just work out everything that you do have. Just ignore this x for a little bit and work out all the rest of it. So 9.8 times 5, 9.8 times 5, oops, is 49. So I've got 49x over 2. This 98, that still stays. All right, and here we're going to divide 49 by 2 because those are the two numbers that we do know. 49 divided by 2. That is 24.5. So 24.5, and I've got x. All right. And our last step. So now that we've got this, what this literally reads is 24.5 times something equals 98. So how would you work backwards? You would do division. And so that would be 98 divided by, 24.5. I'm running out of room. But yeah, to wrap that up, 98 divided by 24.5 is 4. And so x is equal to 4. Meters. You should write the units. All right. Guys, please make sure you copied down all the calculations on that and put a star. I'm giving you a hint that this might be on the test, something very similar to this, where you're trying to find a missing length on a triangular prism. The numbers are just going to be a little different. You have this as a reference material. There should be no reason, even if you're completely clueless at that moment when you're taking the test, if you have this review next to you, you see that it's going to literally be the exact same steps, and you just put the numbers that you're going to use. This is how helpful this should be. You should not make a bad grade on these tests, guys. We're trying to get you to be a little better at this, okay? Use your little better at using your resources to help you. Okay, that was my little spiel. We really need to see improvements on test grades. Number 2, what is the volume of the pyramid? That is a pyramid, and you can tell, well, they told you it's a pyramid, and also if they don't say, you know because of the pointy top. And so you pull out your volume of a pyramid formula, which is volume equals length times width times height divided by 3. Alrighty, that's the difference. It's divided by 3, not by 2. And so we take our numbers, 8 times 8 times 9 divided by 3. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 9 is 576 divided by 3. 576 divided by 3 is 192 centimeters cubed. Okay, sounds good. Let's move on. Number 3, Jeff has a rectangular pool that is 12 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 5 feet deep. If he fills it halfway with water, what is the volume of the water in the pool? Let's draw a picture. Immediately, let's draw a picture because this one's just blank, no picture for us to refer to. Let's draw a pool, I guess, a rectangle pool. And if we want to try and make it a little 3D, let's see, let me try and make this pool a little 3D. Okay, let's pretend we're just looking at this pool from the side. He's only filling it up halfway with water. That's going to be an important keyword here. Let's see, what are the dimensions? 12 feet long, 8 feet wide, 5 feet deep. Try and put that 8 feet, I guess it'll just have to be like this. 8 feet wide. Oops, sorry, struggling a little bit with my drawing. Okay, now that's a better 3D pool. Where were we? 8 feet wide and 5 feet deep. And he's only going to fill it halfway. And the question is asking, so what's the volume of the pool filled halfway? What would your strategy be? We don't have a formula that's specific for half of a pool, but we do have a formula for a rectangular prism, which is what that pool is. But when we get our answer, whatever we get, we're going to divide it by 2 because we only need half. Okay, that's our plan of action. So let's multiply. 12 times 8 times 5 is 12 times 8 times 5. Well, 12 times 5 is 60, and 60 times 8 is 480. And we need to cut that in half, remember, because of the halfway pool. So 480 divided by 2 is going to be 240. So our answer is going to be 240 feet cubed. You might see a question like this on your test. Hint, hint. Number 4, what is the volume of the figure? So here's a question where they don't tell you what shape it is. It just says the figure. So you need to figure out what shape that is. What shape is that? It is a prism. The fact that there's a triangle in this shape tells you that it is a triangular prism. So now you know what formula you should use. You should use length times width times height divided by 2. Use the wrong formula, get the wrong answer. Okay, plug in numbers. 18. This one's easy. There's just 3 numbers to pick from. It's 18 long, 12 wide, 9 represents the height, and that's divided by 2. Okay, so 18 times 12 times 9 is 1,944, and that will be divided by 2 to get 972 centimeters cubed. All right, number 5. Shed A has a length of 5 feet, width of 7 feet, and height of 10 feet. Shed B has a length and width that is double and height that is half. What is the volume of shed B? Okay, it's kind of wordy, but not bad actually. It's not a difficult question. Here we go. Let's list it out to make us understand it more, because I can see y'all trying to read this question and be like, what's going on? What are all those numbers? All right, it's a little cluttered. Let's declutter a little bit. So shed B, or shed A, length of 5. Okay, 5 is the length, width of 7, height of 10. Okay, now that's listed. Let's move on to shed B. They're saying that shed B has a length and width that is double whatever shed A is, right? So we're going to use those numbers. What would double of 5 be? It would be 10. And double of 7 would be 14. See how we're supposed to use those shed A's numbers to get shed B? And then it says height is half. Well, what is half of 10? That would be dividing by 2. So that's going to be 5. Okay, now we've listed those numbers. It looks a little bit organized. Question is, what is the volume of shed B? So we're only focusing on shed B. Volume is length times width times height. So length times width times height is 10 times 14 times 5. Let's check out what that's going to be. 10 times 14 times 5 is 700 feet cubed. Okay, putting a little star right there, meaning, hint, hint, that might be on the test. Number 6. Holbrook has a tent in the shape of a rectangular prism with the dimensions shown below. Okay, you see this tent, 7 feet long, 5 feet wide, 6 foot tall. Okay. He wants to take a family of 3 camping. The instructions on the tent recommend at least 40 cubic feet per person. That's going to be important. How many tents will Holbrook need in order to comfortably accommodate a family of 3? Okay, do y'all understand the scenario, the situation, what's going on? So Holbrook is going camping with this tent, and he's taking 3 people. his family of three. 3 people total are going. And we do have the dimensions of this tent. We're going to solve it and figure out what the volume is, and then we're going to revisit this recommendation that the instructions on the tent say, to be comfortable, you need at least a certain amount of space, 40 cubic feet per person. And so we're going to see what we get, compare it to what is recommended, and figure out, is the one tent enough, or maybe do we need more? Okay, that's the idea. So first, let's figure out the volume of this tent. Volume, and it's a triangular prism, so you know you're going to do length times width times height divided by 2, which is 7 times 5 times 6 divided by 2, which is, well, 7 times 5 is 35, times 6 is 210, and 210 divided by 2 is 105. Okay, Holbrook's tent, that one tent, is 105, what is this, feet cubed. That's not the final answer, right? Because that's not the question. We're almost there. The question says, how many tents will Holbrook need in order to comfortably accommodate a family of 3? So he's taking 3 people, and then the recommendation is at least 40 cubic feet per person. So let's see. One person, 40 cubic feet. Let's go with that pattern. 2 people, 80 cubic feet. I'm sorry, 2 people, 80 cubic feet. 3 people, well, plus 40 more, 120 cubic feet. And we're going to stop right there because he's only taking 3 people. So 3 people would need 120, and what we've got in this tent is 105. So think logically, is that enough space? Three people need 120, and we only have 105 available in one tent, so no, that would not be enough. We need a little bit more room, just a little bit more, so we need another tent. Do you see that? We need one more tent. So the answer to the question, how many tents will Holbrook need? He's going to need 2 tents. All right, putting a star for this one. It may be on the test, hint, hint. So what should you do? If you come up against Holbrook and his tent on a test question, refer to this. I'm not giving you the answer, I'm showing you how it's done, and you use these same strategies on that question on the test. All right, moving on. Number 7, Tara Lynn painted a tabletop that is shaped like a circle. Draw yourself a circle. The circumference of the tabletop is 8 pi feet. Okay, this is interesting. Maybe you've not seen it like this before, but we'll talk about that. The question is, which measurement is closest to the area? So we're being asked to find the area, but they're not telling us. Don't they usually tell us like radius or diameter when we do circles? Yeah, but they're not telling us this time, so we've got to figure that extra step out. Let's backtrack. Let's go back to this sentence right here. The circumference of the tabletop is 8 pi. Circumference of the tabletop. Remember that old circumference formula, right? Which was pi times diameter. Well, here they're telling us that the circumference is 8 pi. Can you figure out where the diameter is in there? That's going to be the 8. Right? Because the circumference formula has pi and then it has diameter, the other number. Well, the pi part is right there, and so the 8 must be the diameter. So there, we've pulled the diameter out of a piece of information that they gave us. 8 is the diameter. Now we have everything that we need to focus on the question, which is just find the area. All right, area formula, area equals pi r squared. Pi is 3.14, and I've got to use 3.14 since this is not a multiple choice. What is the radius? Radius would just be half of 8, not all of 8. That's the diameter. Half of 8 is 4. So put 4 and then squared. Keep the 3.14. 4 squared is 16. This is going to be 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. What's our units here? Okay, we don't have units. Okay, there you go. Uh-oh, it's a star. Means it might be on the test. What is the area of the shaded area? Gray, the gray part. On these questions, guys, anything that has like a gray area and they're trying to ask you find the shaded, this is a subtraction strategy, right? It's where you find the large shape first, find the smaller shape, the one that's inside, and then take it out. You need to remove the small shape out, meaning subtract. So subtraction's the key. All right, the large rectangle is base times height, which is 10 times 12, which is 120 meters squared. The small shape is base times height, which is 7 times 2, which is 14 meters squared. So our strategy is to subtract 120 minus 14. 120 minus 14 is 106 meters cubed. There you go. And the last question. What is the best estimate of the area of the composite shape? All right, save the hardest for last, or most work for last. I would color code so that you can clearly tell differentiate the three shapes that you're supposed to be working on. So we're going to deal with a rectangle, a triangle, and a half circle. Let's do the easiest one first, guys, and knock it out. Rectangle's easiest. Base times height, which is 8 times 6, which is 48. All right, the rectangle is 48, area of 48 centimeters squared. Let's do the triangle next. That's the second easiest one. Triangle formula is base times height divided by 2. Now this triangle has no numbers though on it. We need to come up with the numbers. I'll tell you what we need. We need this, that would be the height in red. We also need the base, those two. So let's look around at some of the other numbers and see what we can use to get that. The height should just be that 6. You see how that 6 is right there? Well, it should also be right there. So the height is 6. We can label that. And now we need the base. What can we use to get the base? All right. I think we need to use the 12 and the 8. Okay, notice here, notice how this 12 represents this length all the way across, right? And then the 8 just represents this much. So what would this gap be, this leftover part? It would be whatever 12 minus 8 is, which is 4. There we go. We've got all the parts to the triangle. 6 times 4 divided by 2. Don't forget your divide by 2. 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. All right, we've got our triangle of 12. And last but not least, the circle, half circle. Remember, guys, we don't have a formula for half of a circle. But what we're going to do is pretend it's a full circle, solve it as if it was a full circle, but at the very end we're going to divide our answer in half, cut it, or divide by 2, cut it in half. All right, so let's pretend it's a full circle and use the formula, which is a circle formula, which is pi r squared. Pi is 3.14. And actually, here we go. This says, remember back in the question, it says best estimate. Why don't we make life easier and round 3.14 just to 3? That's what an estimate would be. All right, what's the radius? Meaning, what's that length? It's 6 all the way across, so halfway across should be 3 squared. Alright, so we have the 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Stop, that's not the area of that half circle. This is the area of a full circle. We need to cut 27 into half, or 27 divided by 2. 27 divided by 2 is roughly, it's going to be a decimal, 13.5. And why don't we round that to 14 since we're dealing with an estimate. Let's just make that 14. On a test, if this was the case, there would be a multiple choice question. If they're asking you to do an estimate, right, it's going to be multiple choice and your answer needs to be the closest answer, right? So let's just add everything up. We've done all the hard part, now the easy part. This is a composite shape, so we add all the individual pieces. 48 plus 12 plus 14, and the answer is 48 plus 12 plus 14. 74. 74 centimeters squared. Boom, there's your answer. All right. Putting a star, you know what that means. Refer to it. All right, guys, we're done with the review. Hope it was helpful. Do not leave that review undone. That is the most important reference to use on your test. Okay, make sure you use this video as help. Have the review next to you when you're taking the test and do well. I know you can do it. All right, good luck, guys. Bye-bye.